always try. Hey, you. Howdy. Good. Go ahead, you're fine, no problem. Oh, yeah. I wasn't even out. How long have you been back? Oh, yeah. I can't wait to
All right. Thank you for being here, everybody. And we are all here today because we love Caroline. Some of us have known her for decades, and some of us for only a short time. But I do know that she was a joy to be around. She was had a great sense of humor, was intelligent, compassionate, talented, and made a positive impression on just about everybody she met. And we're going to miss her greatly. Today we're going to celebrate Caroline's life with remembrances, pictures, some video, a few songs she requested. Later we will enjoy some delicious food with folks who brought some things over. We also have some Texas chili and some Westward Ho vegetarian chili, which Caroline wanted us to try. So we'll be trying that. And she also wants this not to be a somber occasion. So she picked some music for listening and dancing to finish things off at the end. So right now, we'd like to invite Caroline's friend, West Hope Hospice chaplain Nina Gorgonola, to say a few words. There you are.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. Thanks for the prayers, the cards, the flowers, the gifts, the haircut, the tears, the sorry for your loss. Caroline was so blessed to have you in her life. And special thanks today to her family, Geneva, Rick, Jan, Scott, Daisy, Megan, Keith, Jen, Emerson, Megan, Dusan, Emery, Bibi, Donna, Patty, Doug and family, Bonnie, Art and family, Eric, Stephanie, Jeremy and Michelle, and especially thanks for the trip to Las Vegas. More to come on that later. JT, Emily, Lacey, Kimmy, Kristen, Anna, Quinn, Jade, Audria, Ethan, Breck. Also, special thanks to Helen and Rick, Jody, George, Debbie, Kevin, Nora, Charlotte, Joe, Joanna, Susie, Jeff, Lisa, Thea. Thanks for this wonderful food, and thanks for being here today for our wonderful Caroline. Speak low, time is old, love so brief. While love is pure gold, time is a thief. We're late, darling, we're late. The curtain descends, everything ends. Too soon, too soon. I know that it is your love for Caroline and for Eddie that has brought you here today. I just recently met her. I came into her life as part of her team from hospice. So I have to say, I wish that I had known her longer. I see Caroline as a generous heart and radiant being who shared her love exquisitely with us. As we celebrate her life, it's natural to feel grief, sadness. But more than anything, Caroline wanted to be remembered with joy and laughter because that was her way. In the words of Helen Keller, what we have once enjoyed, we can never lose. All that we love deeply becomes a part of us. And as we loved Caroline, so she has become a part of us. Caroline spoke to me of her guardian angels, Ruby and Grace. She said she was experiencing many reminders of them being near to her and to supporting her. I share some words from Helen Steiner Rice. There are no words, what can I say? At last her sweet soul winged its way to peace and freedom in the sky, where never again will she suffer or cry. It's all part of God's great plan, which remains a mystery to man. We cannot understand her ways, nor can we count our earthly days. God knew she longed to go to sleep where only angels a vigil keep. She did not want to leave you, dear, but she had finished her work down here. So she closed her eyes, and when she awoke, the Master spoke. Welcome, dear child, you are at home at last. And now the burden of living is past. She's out of sight for a while, and you'll miss her touch and her smile. But you know that she is safe in the home above, where there is nothing but peace and love.
Well, in the last several weeks, Caroline didn't spend much time sitting around feeling sorry for herself. She was busy planning this event and having, some very important conversations with friends and what. And she seemed to have a lot of joy when we last saw her. But part of her plan was to share a few songs and videos with us all today. And it's time to do the first one. We're going to do, here's a song, or a video that she found meaningful, and it is called 93 Million Miles, and it's performed by Jason Mraz. And I guess we need the lights. Come on. Oh, cat. Oh. There we go. Why don't you start at the top?
Okay, let's see.
slippery slope. There is always a hand that you can hold on to. Looking deeper through the telescope, you can see that your home's inside of you. Just know that wherever you go, no, you're never alone. You will always get back home.
All right. We'd like to, at this moment, we'd like to invite anybody who has maybe a short story about their friendship with Caroline or an experience that you've had with her to come up and tell a story. I think I need to just... Okay, now I can talk. Okay, so... hard to be the sound man and the guy in the Okay, I can start by telling a story that we experienced with myself and with the bandmates, with the band that Caroline was in with myself, Helen, Justin, and Elliot. So it was about 6 months into the band, you know, when we first started performing with Caroline. She was diagnosed with cancer, and she had to go through surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. During this time, and of course this was, what, 10 years ago? 10 years ago, something like that. During this time, we were performing an awful lot, and she wanted to be there for as many gigs as she had the energy to do, which was most of them. And I remember playing on New Year's Eve. Let's see here. On New Year's Eve with her in Redstone, and then the next day, on New Year's Day, at the Belly Up in Aspen. If you saw, we had a little slideshow earlier, and I think we might play it a little later again. You saw some video of her performing on kind of a big stage there. That was, she was singing lead and owning the stage, you could see, you know, just wonderful. And that was our New Year's Day gig in Aspen. And I love that video because she looks like she's about to levitate right off the stage with happiness. I mean, it was a beautiful thing. But it's also good that the girls in the band wore wigs because she had just started her chemotherapy treatment a month earlier. And as she said, I'm bald as a cue ball under this wig. And she totally charmed a packed house, and nobody knew what she was going through except the band. It was amazing how she hung in there with us the whole year and hardly had a complaint. So if anybody else would like to tell a little story or has a little experience you'd like to share, I'd like to invite you to come up, or, you know, right now. I know it's tough to get in front, but if anybody would like to share something, the stage is yours right now. So I see somebody coming up. Donna will get things started here.
Well, Ricky just reminded me when you said hair. And Carolyn inspired me to donate my hair like 10 years ago to people who've lost theirs for whatever reason. And I've only got a couple inches to go, and I'm going to do it again for her.
Would anybody else? Here comes Sarah.
I guess we have to start with hair. I first met Caroline at Heartbeat Salon and became a client, a very happy client, because she was a very competent hairdresser. And one day I lost a pair of earrings between her salon and my car, which was right outside. And she was quite distressed about that, and I said, Caroline, I have lots of other earrings, let's not worry about that. But knowing Caroline, she had to do something. So a couple of weeks later, she presented me with a pair of earrings, which I still have and really appreciate. Another earring story was, as every woman in this room, and probably every man also, when you go to either your hairdresser or your barber, you talk about all kinds of things. And I was talking with her about music and saying I was trying to recover my violin playing. And so she gave me a pair of earrings to inspire me. Then she succeeded where I didn't. I didn't go on and really recover that violin. But she became a nurse. I did most of my formal schooling in my late 20s, or throughout my 20s and into my 30s. She went back to school when she was in her 50s. I was so proud of her. It's hard to do that. But she did it with grace, great skill, won lots of scholarships, and followed her bliss. So I encourage all of us to follow our bliss.
Thank you, Sarah. I do have a story. I guess just a quick mention that Caroline and Helen, my wife, used to take trips back to Texas because Helen was doing some work down there periodically 3 or 4 times a year, and Caroline just liked to go. And so that's how they became such good friends, and they just had the greatest time on these trips because I was pretty much stuck in Paonia and doing other things, and so that was great that they became such great friends. And it was after that that they put together their band, the Westford Hoes, which was Elliot, Caroline, and Helen playing, cowgirl music, I guess. A little suggestive cowgirl music. But and they won a chili cook-off at a with this chili that we're going to have today, and it was. But then what happened after that was we were approached. Helen and I were approached to play a New Year's Eve gig at the Blue Sage Center and do a '60s revival band, and we said, well, we need some backup singers and whatnot, and so we got Caroline and Elliot to help us and a few other folks, and that was the beginning of the band that we worked with Caroline because it went over pretty well, and we got very busy with that band, and Caroline was great with it. And but what's interesting is that very first night, our very first gig on New Year's Eve, was the night that Caroline met Eddie, and he danced with her that night, so it was a very special night. Elliot, are you coming up?
I actually have an
I saw you coming up to the stage. Here's Elliot.
Okay, well, I was going to start with hair and get to Jesus after that, but, and Jody, I'm telling your story. So there we are. Eddie's on crutches. He's just had this horrible accident, and he comes out and, is obviously very smitten with the beautiful blonde and the silver lame, and, so we're watching this happen. And after they dance, they actually dance, Jody comes up to Caroline. She's like, you made that man throw down his crutches and dance. Not even God does that anymore. And, to sort of amplify the Jesus theme, can't believe I'm going there, but the first time I went and got my hair cut at Caroline's salon, Sarah was mentioning that. It's like, I'm not normally somebody who likes to talk when I'm having a service like that, and it always annoyed me, to have to talk to people. But somehow, first time sitting down with Caroline, immediately we just start gabbing. It's like I almost forget she's working on my hair, and I said something, and I even forget what it was, but without missing a beat, she's got my hair in her hands, and she goes, sweet little baby Jesus. And I was like, what? Sweet little baby Jesus. And I'd never heard anybody say that before, and then somehow, this just kind of lodged in my head as something she'd say, and then, every once in a while, we would just look at each other if something happened, and she'd go, and I hadn't thought of that in years until, I heard what had happened, and I forget what I was doing, maybe playing with my hair, maybe cutting up some vegetables in the kitchen, something slips, something falls, and I'm just like, sweet little baby Jesus. Like, oh man. So, it's just, I think we all know that, well, I don't know. I guess sweet little baby Jesus is going to have some real fun hanging out and talking with her. I know I always did.
So, can we interest anybody else in coming up and sharing something? We would. All right.
Anybody that doesn't know already, I'm Carolyn's daddy. Have been for the last 10 years. And she doesn't call me Emery, she calls me Daddy. I had a very wonderful experience Thursday evening, the night before she passed on. It was beautiful. Eddie had felt it, and Carolyn wanted him to go down and have a little turkey with his boys down Clifton. So Ed went down. I says, "Is there something I can do before you're gone?" He says, "You might check in when you come back from Bonnie's from eating turkey dinner. You might check in on Caroline." So I did about 4 o'clock, and she was there, and went in, asked her how she's doing. "Wonderful," she said, "wonderful." She says, "I see bright lights. They're so beautiful." And she says, "I have no pain." And she says, "What a beautiful, wonderful experience this transaction is." She said, "I've started the transaction." She kept saying, "But I've got to save my energy for Eddie. I know Eddie is," I said, "Is Eddie coming?" "Yes, he's coming back." And so we called, and sure enough, Eddie was ready to come. And he hurried back pretty fast, I think. But it was a beautiful experience. I held her hands. She didn't want me to let go. And she says, "Oh, it's so beautiful. The lights are pretty." And it was kind of dark then. We hadn't turned any lights on. But she saw beautiful lights. She says, "Everything's so beautiful. I have no pain. What a wonderful experience." And she said, "You know, the beautiful thing about it, it's not costing me a thing." So I told her, said, "Yes, Jesus took care of that many years ago." So I feel she is enjoying heaven. She saw something, and she was relating it to me. And it was a beautiful experience that I'll always cherish. And we appreciate Caroline in the last 10 years since her and Eddie were married. She has added a lot to our family, so we love her dearly.
Thank you. You know, I think everybody that had any type of experience with Caroline would feel the same way. We have a couple more. Come on up.
Oh, I'm Lacey, and this is my sister Kimmy, and that's our Papa Eddie. And just wanted to say a few things about our Grandma Caroline. Everybody knows how her heart was made of pure gold, and she's just a wonderful person. She's always pursued what she wanted to do, and I want to be just like her. I want to always be happy. I want to cherish every moment, everything in life from now on because of her. She's such an inspiration to everybody. But I want to share a story that makes me smile every time and shows what Caroline's heart was like because it was beautiful. So when we were younger, we spent a lot of time with my great-grandparents and my grandpa and Caroline. And she was always so happy and always so blessed to sing her music and show us her beautiful voice. So every time we would get in the car, she would turn around and ask us to sing, including my brother JT, which is shocking, but he would participate. And she would ask us to sing a song, so we would sing, and we would try to make our voice sound just like hers because we wanted to impress her because her voice was so good. But we would sing, and she would turn around and she would say, "Well, you guys are really good at singing. And we would just giggle and laugh because we were like, no, we should have busted out the car windows. How are you saying we are good right now? And so it just goes to show how her heart was made of gold, because no matter what, she didn't have a mean bone in her body. She was a blessing to our lives. We're glad we got to be a part of it. And from now on, I'm in nursing school, and I want to pursue my dreams for her. Thank you.
My dearest memories of Grandma Caroline and Papa is when they would come to the house in Palisade and for Christmas, and I was just so excited all the time, like, oh, we're gonna eat so much food, we're gonna share stories, we're just gonna have a great time. But I remember one year, it was so fun, and just that it snowed on Christmas, and it was Geneva and Caroline's first white Christmas, and it just made my heart happy that they were so excited, and just, it was so much fun. She always had the heart of gold, and just, I'd never seen that woman once mad, sad. She always just was very happy all the time.
Thank you. Anybody else out there would like to share a story or a remembrance? I know a lot of us have stories, and you just want to remember them yourself, but if anybody would like to share something, looks like we do have.
I've got just a little short
Okay,
story.
great.
I don't know if I need that, really. I got acquainted with Carolyn when she was in nursing school. And I'm a former member, or a member of the Hotchkiss Kiwanis. And for many, many years, we gave away scholarships. And we gave it to VOTEC, a lot of it to the nurses here. And I've always said, we need to take care of them nurses, because someday they're going to be taking care of us. So we did present Carolyn with a scholarship. And I've done this many, many times down there, probably in the last 10, 12 years or such. And she's the only person that I ever had that broke down and cried. So it's quite touching. I'm sorry, but another thing, after she was through with nursing and she got a job at the Delta Hospital, why, my wife had to have a little operation. Well, it wasn't a little, but she was had this operation, and who was her nurse but Carolyn? And she was quite nervous, and she said, oh, thank God, it's somebody I know. So anyway, that's where I got acquainted. But speaking of Emery and his wife, Bibi, I knew them for many, many years. They were my neighbors for a good number of years. Hated to see them leave, but they did leave and moved up LaRue Creek. So anyway, that's my little story about Carolyn. And I tell you, I was absolutely shocked. I didn't know that she was sick. And I read her obituary in the paper, and I couldn't hardly believe it. So we never know. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, some of my most fond memories of the last 10 years or so were with when we were first working with Caroline, and it was always just such a joy to get together and just rehearse, just sing songs together, and it was always a party just to be with her. So I know what you mean. Anybody else out there? Please come up.
I don't know if I can get through this either. Rick is Carol's brother, and we've been separated from Carol by time and distance because we're in Texas and she's been in Colorado with the love of her life. So we haven't had the quality time with Carol that we wanted. We did not know she was sick until October when she called us. I just want to make a point about how God orchestrates our lives. When Carol told us, she said, my bucket list has become very short.
And I have two wishes, and that is to get to Texas, to put my toes in Texas coastal sand, and to get to Austin. And I want to do it like a big girl. I want to drive myself. I want to drive around. I want to tootle around like I did when I was in college and living there. Darling Geneva, Carol shares one of her traits of always seeing the beauty in the world. The small things that so many of us miss and don't see and don't pay attention to. Carol was there seeing it, and she got that from her darling mother. So we got her to the Texas coast because we happened to have an extra bedroom because my sister had canceled out on me. It was going to be a girls' weekend. So when Carol called with this sad, tragic, unbelievable news, I said, Carol, I've got a room. Come to the Texas coast with us. Rick's going to be with us, and it's quality time. And she said, that's a wild idea. But the next day in the email, she said, I'm coming. I'm going to do it. She hopped a plane and she came, and she had 3 days with us at the beach. You'll see the pictures that come up. She got her toes in the Texas coast. She went to Austin. She tootled around. She did not feel well. She was doing the best she could, thanks to Jody, who put her up. She got to do and taste and see Texas and Austin. Then when she came back through, she stayed another 2 or 3 nights with us there in Comfort, Texas. And we got her to the Guadalupe River, which she also was missing, that Guadalupe River. So here's my story that took a long time to get to, that he has encouraged me to tell. We were coming back from the Guadalupe. We sat there. You'll see those pictures, too, of Carol sitting with her brother Rick. I don't think I posted one, but one of them, she was looking at him with such sweet, sweet, loving eyes. She walked across the low river because we're having a drought. She was taking it all in. I was taking a picture of her, and I couldn't see her clearly in the lens, but when I developed the picture, I saw that she was blowing us a kiss. That is so Carol. She knew she was leaving us, and this was her goodbye. So as we drove away from the river, she started to squeal and carry on, and she said, lightning bugs, lightning bugs. She was beside herself and was eventually sobbing in tears. She was so excited. She said, I thought they were gone. I thought they had vanished from the earth. And there they are. It was like a fairyland. God had provided her with that blessing of seeing lightning bugs. And she realized how kind of over the top she was, and she turned around. She was in the front seat. She turned around to me and Rick, and she said, I'm sorry, I'm acting so silly. We said, no, enjoy the lightning bugs. She said, it's God. It's a gift for me. So take time to see the lightning bugs. Carol did.
Boy. Yes, she had a lot of wonderful friends, wonderful family. We're so fortunate to have had her. I believe, do we have another? We have another story coming up, and I'm sure there's a million stories, so we're just going to hear a few of them here. Come on up.
Well, I had met Carolyn a while back, I don't know. Had come up and get parts and tires for her car for me. I've had a towing service here for a lot of years, but I had a medical problem. And when I got home, I had home health. Carolyn was my nurse for 5 weeks. Come 3 days a week, every day. My wife has been a nurse for years, but Carolyn was an absolute angel to me. I thought I had no complaints at all. I don't speak much in front of people. I also have been a member of the Kiwanis Club for over 30 years, and we shut down here about a month ago, mostly because all of us guys in the Kiwanis Club are getting old. We have tried for years to get younger people to come in and pick up the gavel and continue, but we just got too old. But I remember Carolyn was one of our recipients of our scholarship. And, but anybody that's never had her as a nurse, if you ever needed a nurse, you don't know what you're missing. Because she was absolutely wonderful.
Is there anybody else that would like to share a little story? I see. Andrea? Okay, come on up.
Not very good about talking in front of people, but just want to share one thing that came to my mind listening to all these stories that really showed the kind of character that Caroline had. A lot of you might not know that I'm married to her ex-husband, who she was with for almost 22 years, and her and Eddie had been married for a year or so, and then Corey and I got married the following year, and it was our first Thanksgiving, going down to see his mom, and I had my mom in the car too, and we were driving down to southern New Mexico, and she called us, and we were in the car, and she just said she just wanted to say Happy Thanksgiving and how happy she was that everybody found someone that they were really happy with. And that's a huge thing to do, and to reach out like that. And I didn't know that a few years later that I'd actually be in a medical terminology class with her. And there were only 6 of us, and we were the 2 of the 6, so we hung out for a semester. And it was great. So from that point on, I had my own special relationship with her. And all I can say is she is someone who always, she didn't have to say anything. She just made you smile and feel good because she just radiated joy all the time. And she was one of the most positive people I'd ever met. And it's a big lesson to learn and carrying on in your life. So I'm glad you were blessed, Eddie.
Thank you, Andrea. We have another story coming up, and I do appreciate you all sharing these things. I think it's good for everyone.
I know most of you don't know me. I'm Mark Ellis. I'm Carol's brother, younger brother. Oh, the web my father wove. Our father. I have a story, interestingly enough. I met her when I was 14. I became aware that I had other brothers and sisters, and I was thrilled. And I met Carol, and for the first time we met, she was so happy, to meet me, and I was so happy to meet her, and my sister Teresa met her, and of course her sisters too. Half sisters, yes, but still sisters. And I remember the story of how they met. It was very interesting. They were fairly close in age. I think they were two years apart or something like that, 3 years apart. And Teresa was working as a waitress at I'm not sure, a restaurant or something. Maybe a nightclub. I don't know, she's too young for that. But anyway. And Carol was also waitressing at that same restaurant. And they started talking. They had a good time talking to each other, and they liked each other and everything. And then before you know it, they start sharing information like, yeah, my dad would take us out to the lake on Sundays, and take his boat and we'd all go skiing. She goes, yeah, my dad did that too. Or, yeah, my dad, he owns a searchlight business. I mean, aside other things, and he runs a searchlight over town. Oh, my dad does that too. Wait a minute, it's like, what's your dad's name? Bill? Mine too. Ellis? Yes. That's how they met. The years go by. We kind of lost contact, not really willingly at all. I loved her so much. But you kind of get busy with your own life, your own family, your own challenges. You kind of expect, I always expected that as the years go by, we get older, we have more time to spend together, reconnect. And it breaks my heart I'm not going to have that time. Because she was a wonderful lady. And I love her very much, and I will carry her with me everywhere I go. Thanks.
Boy, was that. I think we'll all carry a memory of Caroline, Carol, wherever we go. Would you like to say something? We have another story coming up.
Hi, everybody. I just want to tell everyone how blessed I am that I got to meet Caroline as a fellow coworker. She worked at Pace, and every morning she would work, she would come in with a smile on her face and tell me, what's new? How was your weekend? What's the gossip? And I would tell her, and it was just a pleasure. Being able to hug someone that you work with as a true friend. She actually cared. And I know she loved Peace very much, and all the participants there, and they all loved her just as much. And I want to share one experience. We went to the Wine Fest a couple years ago, and I don't know if you guys seen a post I had put on Facebook, but we decided to meet at Safeway, and one of our other coworkers, Naz, she has this big lifted Jeep. And so we met there, and all three of us drove up to Junction, and we went to the Wine Fest. And there was about four or five of us, and we got these little glasses, and we're just hitting all the wine vendors there, and we got a little tipsy, and we're like, oh, let's just go to this one, let's just go to this one. And it was just a really good time that I'll never forget, and it was quite the experience, and I'm so blessed I got to know her, and just wanted to tell her family that she was very lovely, and she'll always be remembered. Thank you.
Okay. Would anybody else like to say something? I think we do appreciate everybody. Oh, we got one more. Sorry. There you are.
I'll make it short. So Caroline was really good at telling stories. So if you ever got to sit in her chair, or you ever got to go to a concert with her, I feel blessed I got to do a lot of those things. But in her stories, I would sit in her mother's kitchen, and she'd tell details right down to what the cups looked like and how it felt to feel so loved and warm. in the morning coming down to breakfast in her home. And she told lots of stories where I felt like I was right there with her. But my favorite was when she met Eddie, and she, I knew Eddie. She started talking about everything he was bringing to her life, and then she just had this amazing happiness. She said, all my dreams are coming true. I have a family. And she just loved you guys so much. She would tell us about all the little trinkets and things she'd get you for Christmas when she got to buy the kids gifts. And that she got sisters and this built-in family and a mom and a dad, and another mom and a dad. And she just loved life so much. She talked about when she would wake up in the morning, she had something she'd say about how she greeted the day. And I wish my sister was here because she said it perfectly, but it's just about being so thankful. And I'm so glad about the gifts that she gave us all. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think that that should conclude this segment of this memorial. Like I was saying earlier, Caroline had some requests of us for this event today, and she had a few videos and songs that she would like us to see. And so here is the second video that Caroline. Oh yes. Oh yeah, Nina has something to say. And so here's Nina Gergen.
Well, because this was an add-in part.
That's true.
And Eddie had said there wasn't really going to be much to say. So then I bumped into him, or we talked on the phone or something. He said, I've been up all night, and something's coming, but I got to get it down on paper, and Caroline's been talking to me. She wants us to say something. So this is from Eddie and Caroline. Caroline was full of joy. Joy was her prayer without ceasing. She naturally spread that joy to her friends, family, her co-workers, her clients, everyone she met. She was super smart and scored in the 99 plus percentile on the Stanford Binet test in 1960. She was blessed with many talents. Music was a huge part of her life. The upright bass and dobro were treasured instruments. She was awesome as Mimi Manchester in the Sterling Scones band. She was so sexy in the Westward Hose and loved to dance while playing bass for the Grange Hall Serenaders. Caroline loved festivals and especially helping out in the North Fork Bluegrass events. There always seemed to be a song dancing in her mind. She was an accomplished knitter, and there are examples of her work on the table over here, so all of those sweaters and things that she made. As we've heard, she had her own hairstyling business, the Heartbeat Salon, and the creativity and relationships with her clients meant a great deal to her. She could have had her own cooking show on TV. It probably would have been specializing in Texas dishes. And we've heard the award-winning vegetarian chili will be served here today, and another Texas chili. While pursuing her nursing degree, her writing professor was so impressed with her writing that the school published a piece. I'm going to read a little bit of it. There's copies of this at the back, and Eddie said he could make more if you need one. This piece is called LaRue Creek Canyon from a Wooden Rocker. So this is a little essay that Caroline wrote. This canyon belongs to the earth. It is the result of snowmelt from the mountains above carving a deeper and deeper path each spring over millions of years. Over the last few hundred of those years, it has become known by some habit of man as LaRue Creek Canyon. And for the last 15 years, by some law of man, it has belonged to my husband, and now to both of us. This chair belonged to my grandfather when he raised Santa Gertrudis cattle on his ranch in central Texas. It is an aging grade rocker built of wooden slats. It moved with him to the city when the rigors of ranching became too much for him, and as he neared the age of 80. When he died, it became my grandmother's, then my mother's, and now it is mine. Well, it's a great essay. I encourage you to take a look at the rest of that. Cats, dogs, and horses all seemed to sense that she was a kindred spirit. And just to name a few, Emily, Pearl, Melody, Johnson, Henry, Noila, Presley, Marcelina, Chapita, Mimi, Swede, Bose, Mercury, Dusty, Chewy, and many, many more. At age 52, after undergoing treatment for breast cancer, Carolyn decided to become a nurse. Well, she got straight A's. Teachers, study buddies, dear clients, co-workers were all touched by that Caroline magic. In the last few months of her time here, Carolyn had a few things that she wanted to do on her bucket list. Viva Las Vegas, the trip with Jeremy and Michelle. It was last spring for 4 days, 3 nights. Fremont Street was so much fun, wonderful food, and especially that cute pizza place. Strange people, zipliners, learning to play blackjack. She broke even cheap fun entertainment. Oh, she broke even, excuse me, I misread that. She broke even. There we go. The airplane ride, the limo, the companionship, it was all perfect. Another item on her bucket list was returning to her beloved Texas. And there are a few pictures of that trip on the slideshow. And Carolyn, I'm so sorry. I know you said no swimsuit shots, but someone snuck them in. She said, no, none of those. She got to play in the Gulf waters near Galveston with her brother Rick and her sister-in-law Jan. She rented a car and drove through the beautiful hill country where her grandparents had a cattle ranch at one time. In her hometown of Austin, she met up with some longtime friends. She often said that her body's molecules were made in Austin, and like a magnet, they kept pulling her home, where she had once danced to disco, hung out with friends of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and embraced the slogan, "Keep Austin Crazy." So, upon returning to her brother's home near Comfort, Texas, Rick took her on a country ride in his car. I hear you have a classic car. What year is that?
48.
A 1948 Plymouth. And then Rick took her to wiggle her toes on the rocks in the waters of the Guadalupe River, a bucket list item. And then on the way home was the magic of the fireflies, another bucket list. She must have powers. An added bonus to this list was an old-time railroad trip from Chama, Arizona to Antonito with her brother, sister-in-law, her nephew Scott, and his beautiful daughters Daisy and Naomi, And even though it was tiring, she kept on smiling as she gazed on the fall colors of her majestic Colorado mountains. Caroline dearly loved life, but she had no fear of death. She wanted to spend her end days in her home, Rancho Vida, surrounded by all those things that were so precious. High on her bucket list was having a spiritual Steve Jobs moment when his last words were, "Oh, wow." Actually, her moment lasted for about 2 days. On Thanksgiving morning, she was spiritually on fire. Oh, Eddie, the light's real. And her eyes shined. They were reflecting that light. Her smile was peaceful and playful. She said to Eddie and to her nurse and friend, Nora, "Don't give me any pain meds. I'm in a wonderful place. Be happy. I'm happy. I'm excited to go, but I'm sad to leave. It's so beautiful." Caroline lived in this ecstatic state until passing on Friday morning around 10:40. And she invites her loved ones to spread her ashes in those treasured places, in the mountains, canyons, and rivers of Texas, Utah, and Colorado. I share a little short poem of Isla Pascal Richardson's. "Grieve not, nor speak of me with tears, but laugh and talk of me as if I were beside you. I loved you so. 'Twas heaven here with you."
Okay, so Caroline did have another request of a little video song for us to play. This one is called "Crossing the Bar" by Salamander Crossing.
Sunset and evening star and one clear call for me, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea, when I put out to sea, when I put out to sea, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dawn, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark, when I embark, when I embark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and fall, when that which drew from out the boundless
A Course in Miracles says, there are not different kinds of life, for life is like the truth. It does not have degrees. It is the one condition in which all that God created share. Like all his thoughts, it has no opposite. There is no death, because what God created shares his life. Relationships were important to Caroline. Her relationship with Eddie, with her family, with all of you. And our relationship to her does not end, but rather it is a part of the tapestry that weaves our lives and weaves our future. I invite you to allow your relationship with her, to allow its future, its life. Caroline shared with those around her in her last days that the light is real. She was bridging from here to there. And for those who witnessed this, it was life-changing. It was a blessing. Thank you, Caroline, for this precious gift you gave, even as you left. Life is the flash of a firefly in the night. It is the breath of the buffalo in the winter. It is the little shadow which runs across the grass and loses itself in the sunset.
All right, so I think we're nearing the end, and we will be enjoying some of this great food in just a minute. But throughout this service or memorial, we've heard a lot of people mention some things that various events in Caroline's life. And some of that is documented on this video we're just about to see. So we're going to play this. Helen put this together in the last couple days, and it includes music. All of the music you hear on there, Caroline was involved in singing. Some of it she's singing the lead parts, and photos from her very first year to just recently. So if you'd like to run that. Turn the sound up.
Pictures are in my mind. I think about her all the time. I can't get away. song. I've been the birds in the trees. Yeah, I guess you say, what can make me feel this way? My girl, my girl, my girl, talking about. Now he's back in my arms again.
There it is. Yep, she was a star. Like to mention that we're going to stop. You don't need to watch it again right now. But if anybody